Hey y'all. The first 9 minutes or so is me sharing my experience with current events in the US, including the overturn of Roe v. Wade. I'm speaking about things that could be triggering to some, or you might disagree. If needed, please feel free to jump ahead to the reading. Timestamp is in the description. Thank you. One last note. I did not realize how loud my neighborhood was until I got the brilliant idea to record outside, so I am so sorry about all the background noise. Thank you so much for being here, and I will be back inside next time. Good morning, y'all. I'm recording this the morning of the 28th, which is the day of the new moon in Cancer. And already in the last 24 hours, I have been told to leave this country and called a mystical freak, which I don't know if that's really an insult at this point. My house is a mess, so I thought I'd bring it outside today. This is my little house in the back. Please excuse some of the mess out here. Life, y'all, life. I just wanted to, before we get into the reading for the Cancer new moon that is happening tonight around 8 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Mountain time, 10 p.m. Central time, and 11 p.m. Eastern time. I just wanted to take a moment and tell you, let me take my glasses off here, and tell you that I love you. And to give yourself some grace right now. Put the phone down. Take breaks when you need to. There's a lot going on. We are all still shook by them overturning Roe versus Wade. I also think this is a good distraction for the other rights that we've been fighting for people of color and for trans folks. And unfortunately, it looks like they're gonna start taking more of our rights away. So I'm here for you. We're all just gonna do what we can and keep fighting, and speaking truth to power also. I shouldn't have been probably engaging with people on Facebook. However, my mom, who is a boomer who is not a typical baby boomer. She's right there next to me fighting the good fight. I'm extremely supportive of everything, everybody's rights that we're fighting for. And she posted something about, this country being founded by men in power, and that guns were different back then. Women didn't have rights when this country was founded, and people owned people. They thought they had the right to enslave people, and those are archaic beliefs. I'm gonna put my sunglasses on back now because I didn't put makeup on. We're upholding archaic beliefs in a time that is completely different from when this country was founded. And I had to get on there, of course, and defend what was going on, and speak truth to power, and also point out that this was stolen land that people were massacred for, and that people are still defending these sacrifices of the founding fathers, and they are not the ones who made the true sacrifices. They sacrificed others for their own gain, and it's most disheartening that it is white women who are holding up these patriarchal beliefs and standards and systems. It is them who are the biggest problem. And I, unfortunately, am one of them, and which is why my mom and I are doing everything we can to be educated and to speak truth to power. and also to step aside when is needed. I think a lot of these women also just need to know when it's time to shut your mouth. One woman told me that I needed to let it go, even though she got on there and just wanted to say what she wanted to say. And then once I was telling her why that is actually not correct, because she was spreading misinformation, she was confusing her opinion with fact, that she wanted to, tell me to let it go and stop arguing. And I'm like, this is not your post. That is not yours to say. That is your white privilege thinking that it's okay to come in and plant your toxic thoughts, and then as soon as you don't like the response you get, you want to shut it down. I'm not comfortable. You're the one who wants to argue. We should just stop talking. That's not okay. And although she kept telling us that she wanted to be done and let it go, she kept having to have the last word. She kept having to respond. At the end, she finally posted a GIF about like saying bye, and my mom, it's her post, got on there and was like bye, and that woman again had to post a like laughing emoji. Like she could not let it go, but she was insisting that we needed to let it go, and insisting that the men who founded this country were not rich and in power. Yes, they were. Where do you think the golden rule comes from? Whoever has the gold makes the rules. They were making the rules, so guess who probably had the gold? I know that there is so many things going on right now that are so frustrating and disheartening. And if you have the chance to speak up, speak up. If you have the chance to be quiet and listen, be quiet and listen. At this point, I am fine if I am basically shaming you into being quiet. Because the conversation isn't working. We're spewing our opinion, and not listening to fact and history, and not listening to other people's experiences, and we're just telling them, well, if you don't like it, then you can leave. And that shows your privilege right there too. All these things that these people are saying is showing who they really are, what they really think, and it's scary. It's scary that they're okay with watching other people's rights be stripped away from them, when this is supposed to be the country of the free, and the Constitution is great to defend when it works for them. I could go on all day. We could sit here and talk about this all day. I want you to remember that in between the work and the fighting, you have to rest. You have to step away and recharge your batteries, and also protect yourself. Protect yourself from the bullies, because they're not going to like what we have to say, because it doesn't fit into their protective bubble and narrative, unfortunately. But this should be at least a safe place for the people who are being harmed the most. And that now includes our own children. The people in power right now, their ego and their bottom dollar is more important than the majority of the lives in this country. And that is the scariest thing. And I hope that we can make these changes together. So I'm right there with you. I'm sending you so much love and support, because a lot of us too, on top of the state of the country and the world, and these collective traumas we're all experiencing, and and through a pandemic on top of that, so many of us are dealing with our own personal traumas and griefs, and it's just layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. And I didn't get videos out like I thought I would, because as soon as Father's Day hit, I was in a bad place. Because some of you might not know that my dad was killed by a drunk driver at the end of 2020. And I'm still having a really hard time with it. I've gotten some therapy right after, and when we were going through legal stuff, but now I am seeking out new forms of support, because I also want to be able to live my life, and I know that my dad and my family in spirit also want me to live my life and want me to be able to be the best I can be. And that's not happening because of the trauma and the pain. So I apologize for things being delayed. Just know that I am dealing with some real shit. And then on the bright side, there was a wedding in my family, which is a extremely rare occurrence. So rare that we did not even know that we were supposed to sit in the reserved seats during the ceremony. My cousin forgot to tell us. But that was a great break in the real stuff. So I hope that you can still find some joy, because I know we need to stay alert and aware, and I know we need to keep fighting, but we also have to keep reminding ourselves what we're fighting for. And that means the joy and the connection and doing the things that we love with the people that we love, okay? So make sure that you are taking some time to do that also. Okay, let's see what this new moon is bringing us. Go ahead, let's take a deep breath together after that. After everything, in your nose. Hold it at the top. Blow it all out your mouth. Do it again, in your nose. Out your mouth. One more time, in your nose. Out your mouth. Now, this new moon is in Cancer, and we are also experiencing, well, I'm experiencing bad shuffling. We're also experiencing Saturn in retrograde until October. So we will be dancing with Saturn with that energy. And I say dancing because there's going to be some good stuff. There's going to be some times where it feels like you're getting your toes stepped on. There's going to be some new steps you have to learn. But then there will be some like rhythms and moves that you recognize. There will be chances to free form. It's a good way to look at it, that you're dancing with this energy, because Saturn is really the planet of like karma and lessons. It rules Capricorn, and it will be showing us, like anytime the planets are retrograde, it will be showing us things that were hidden or we were trying to ignore about ourselves and about our world. So with the new moon in Cancer, because Cancer is also ruled by the moon, so it is at home whenever the moon is in the sign of Cancer. And right now there's a need for us to own our emotions, recognize them, own them, and validate them for ourselves, not needing others to validate that our emotions and our feelings and our intuitions are correct or or right or fair. It's about us discerning where emotions are coming from and figuring out that they are valid, that your intuitions are correct. And I just heard Jeffrey Marsh say a great thing about, and they were talking about when dealing with narcissists, but I feel like it applies to this moon also. If you haven't checked out Jeffrey Marsh, go check them out. They're amazing. Jeffrey Marsh, excuse me. I'll link them below. That you have the right to be misunderstood. And I thought that was such a great way to put it, because so much we just want people to understand us and to hear us, and I think it goes so well with where we're at emotionally, and it's needing to accept that people are gonna misunderstand you, so that you're also not racking your brain or beating yourself up for somebody else's misunderstanding of you. Okay, so like when they call you mystical freak. Anyway, Five of Swords. Well, that just is timely, isn't it? I knew this was going to not only be good for everybody, but good for me also. I do a lot of this for all of us, including myself. So the Five of Swords is all about, it's a conflict card, but it's also about cutting your losses. It's also about, you see how it appears that this figure has won, but that means that they've had to watch who's walked away. And it looks like somebody in the background is even hurt, like the feelings are hurt, the emotions are hurt. And there's something about, I don't want to say, like the feeling is, and I don't want to say it this way because it sounds really horrible, is like, don't care about who you hurt. But it's not that simple. It's kind of like, it's almost like people are going to act like they're hurt or upset. And sometimes things need to be stirred up a little bit. Sometimes people need to be shown who they are being, or how what they're doing is affecting others. What was I just watching recently? And it was like, what was it? Oh, it was on Euphoria, and Angus Cloud's character, I cannot think of what his character is. He's the guy who kind of looks like Mac Miller. Was talking to Cassie's sister, and I cannot remember her name either, but that's Maud Apatow. I know their real names. And about her TV sister Cassie, and that, you know, she was worried that she was going to upset people with her play, because she wrote this play about her and her sister and their friends, and how things have changed, and how their true colors have come out, and how not all the changes are good, and that she was afraid of hurting people. And he said, well, you know, sometimes people need to have their feelings hurt, because if we're too protective of people, then that creates a certain like stuntedness in their emotion, and then in their reactions, not letting, you know, our children fail. It teaches them that, you know, that they're successful at everything, just like the whole, like, everybody gets a trophy, you know, when they're little kids, like, who cares? But as kids are getting older, they should learn that they can't win all the time. Like, I would never let my nephew win playing like card games and board games. I know it sounds like I'm a jerk, but they call me the game miser in my family because I love board games and card games for the reason that the rules are the same for everybody, and that's like the only thing in life where the rules are the same for everybody. And so I think I always like, no, you have to play by the rules, and you have to learn how to play the game if you want to win it. And I would definitely help him play the game and like along the way, but I was not just letting him win, because it's an important lesson in life. You're just not gonna win everything. There's going to be times that you fail. And I think we're being shown that right now in so many different ways. And so there are times where we're so worried about hurting somebody or offending somebody or protecting somebody that then we're not speaking our truth. Or then we're being compliant with things that aren't correct or truthful or right. And so it's about standing up to that. It's about also just standing your ground, being strong in your convictions, and then, accepting when it might upset somebody. And there's also that part where we need to recognize when to not say anything. There's a discernment here. There's a lot of discernment coming up this year in general around these things. But sometimes we have to just let people walk away from us. And I think sometimes too, people act like they don't hear you because what you're saying doesn't fit into the narrative. But it does not mean that they don't hear you. It does not mean that they aren't gonna go, they might not have been listening, but they heard you, or they may have been listening, but you know what I mean? I think that we're, because of people's responses, we're thinking, that was unproductive, blah, 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 but they're gonna walk away and still think about it. As humans, we can't just let things go. If people are letting things go like that, then they probably are like a narcissist, a sociopath, or a psychopath, and that's a whole different level of issues. So it's like it might not seem like it at the moment that they hear you, but they will think about what you said later on, and there's no way that they're just gonna be completely not changed. But some people, it just makes them dig their heels in, and that shows you who they are too. So let's see my freaking table won't stay still. Aha. Knight of Wands. I'm having trouble seeing on their screen if it's getting it. Did I get it? So again, I feel like this is just more confirmation of like moving forward with conviction, with passion, with purpose. You know what you're doing is right. And it's hard to like also blanket that, because I know there's a lot of people out there that think they know what they're doing is right. It's those people that are so righteous in what they're doing that are kind of scary, because there's no like flexibility. The Knight of Wands, there is a certain flexibility in there, because the Knights are always on the move. The Knight of Wands is one of the faster ones, but they're also the fire knight, and so there is like a transformation. There's transportation. There's also transformation energy in that, where fire can create and destroy. And so there are moments of changing the trajectory, changing your thought pattern, changing the direction of where you're going, recognizing what's working, what's not working, and making those decisions from there. It's funny because it's like the first thing was like, sometimes people need to get their feelings hurt, and then with the Knight of Wands, it's like, if you know what you're doing is right, then you have to keep going. The dangerous part about saying that is that some people think that what they're doing is right when really it's hurting people. So it's like, if what you're doing is right and you're not oppressing others, then keep going. There's a reflective piece coming up about this too, where it's like the discerning. You have to really look at your motives, what you're doing, why you're doing it, and is it rooted in some sort of oppression? Is it rooted in oppression, in hurting others? Hurting someone's feelings is different than hurting them physically, or hurting them in the grand scheme of, in like taking people's rights away. There's like a piece of autonomy and sovereignty coming up with this too, where we have to be autonomous and sovereign in our own selves, but we also can't be an island, because then then we're only serving ourselves also. This is the juxtaposition that is life on this planet, that is life in this universe, is that you really are supposed to only be focusing on growing and changing yourself, but we have to be aware of how that's affecting others, and we have to recognize that we are all connected at the same time, that it starts here. Like I don't know if you've heard me say this, but I'm always like, it doesn't matter and it all matters. It's like none of it matters and all of it matters all at the same time. So like, as long as you're not hurting yourself or others in malicious ways, then a lot of these things that people are telling us are bad or sinful or not moral, not real. These judgments like that are a construct of humans. They're not a construct of the spirit world. So what's next? Finally, 10 of Pentacles. So make sure that's, dang, they're just not picking them up. It's because we're outside. There it goes. So there is resolution coming. There is light at the end of the tunnel. There is abundance on its way. There is change for the better. There is like long, happy lives and families and generations to come. But that involves, maybe not being the people pleaser and not being compliant when you feel in your gut and into your intuition that something's wrong. That Five of Swords and that Knight of Wands together, they're really like it's really feeling like a fight the power sort of energy, and I like it. And I feel like, there's a lot of lessons that we're having to go through right now, individually, collectively. And I maintain a hopeful that we will not continue to go backwards. And this right here tells me that we will not. Let's put a receipt on it, a stamp on it right now. Cancer new moon 2022. we will come out of this victoriously. And not only victoriously in the moment, but victorious for generations to come. So our fears are not unfounded either. We have to keep banding together and supporting each other and speaking out. We have to keep fighting, knowing that a lucrative future is within our grasp. Knowing that we deserve, and I love this too because I think this is clearly like a biracial, I guess lesbian. This person could easily be, a trans mask person. There's the imagery of the possibility of rights for everybody, and this card is about generational building, generational wealth, and this is us building generational wealth. So this is our hope. I don't want to put it down. I don't want to put it down, because this just feels like that little sliver of hope that we're gonna make it, that we're gonna figure this out, that we need to stop letting a small group of people dictate the rights of the masses. There are more of us than there are of them. We just want to live our lives and feel safe to do that. I want you to feel safe, okay? So much hate being spewed. Bottom of the deck, 4 of Cups. Sorry if my camera is not picking stuff up. I like this one too because on her hoodie it says "over it." We're over it, y'all. Ooh, but this is nice. Looking at it now, if you see up on the screen, Swords, Wands, Pentacles, Cups. All 4 elements. All like a good balance of energies. No major arcana. So as crazy and major all this feels right now, we're already in it. We're on the path. We're gonna get through it. The 4 of Cups is about missing opportunities, missing gifts from the universe if we are too focused on what things should look like. And that goes for everybody, no matter what side you're on. We get so caught up with how things should be that we could easily miss opportunities to learn and to grow, opportunities to listen, opportunities for things that could be even better than what we imagined, what we envisioned. We need to, I agree with, us trying not to be so divided. It is very difficult when the disagreements are rooted in people's basic human rights. But even the master spirits say that we have to try to connect to people who aren't vibrationally aligned with us, to have compassion and empathy for people who don't agree with us. And I think that we're being challenged and tested on more than anything. And so there are certain people where you don't have to accept. I'm not just saying go accept their bullshit. There's not. But needing to find some silver linings in relationships or in connections, even if you know that you don't agree with them on big things. There is a part of it where we have to, again, discern when it's time to have those conversations and when it's time to maybe just keep the peace for a moment. We can't be stirring up the pot all the time, because then nothing's gonna get handled. Nothing's gonna get resolved if we're just stirring. Some things need to settle so that they can be resolved also, okay? Whew. Oh man, y'all. Things have been wild. And if you're a hockey fan, we're lucky enough to live in Colorado. We love our Colorado sports. And congratulations, Avs, for winning the Stanley Cup. That was some really exciting stuff. But it was really wild on my feed because it was like, go Avs. Oh my God, our world is over. Go Avs. Oh my God, what is happening? Go Avs. Juxtapositions aplenty around here, y'all. So this is the Mystical Shaman Oracle. It is the first deck by Alberto Villoldo and Colette Baron-Reid, and Marcel Lobos is on this deck also. And then you've seen me probably use the Mystical or the Shaman Stream Oracle, which is their second deck. Ooh, the Sweat Lodge. The Sweat Lodge. That's probably a really good one for everything. Because these times like these can make us also feel ungrounded and lost, and it's a really difficult place to be productive from. And so it's taking that time to ground back in so that we can continue to do the work and be productive. Okay, the essence. It's upright, so we read the invitation. The essence. The Sweat Lodge represents the womb of Mother Earth. Volcanic stones are heated in a fire outside, then brought into the lodge and placed in a shallow hole in the center. And the Sweat Lodges are part of indigenous culture in this country. It's not, I don't think it's prevalent in all of the tribes, but I just want to make sure we are recognizing that, and that if this is an opportunity that you have to do something like this, to make sure you're doing it in a respectable way and with people who are certified, who are practitioners of it, and who are doing it ethically. Participants sit in complete darkness around the hot stones to sweat away old habits and beliefs and heal disease. When you return humbly to the womb of the mother, you are offered second chances. The invitation. This is a time to journey inward into the dark and hidden places of your soul to reconnect with the ancient earth wisdom. You can also create a sacred and intimate space in the dark by lighting a candle. Observe what emerges and, without judging it, invite it to bring you its gifts. You're being offered an opportunity to shed and heal from the aspects of your life you have outgrown. Do not worry that you will be consumed by the process. I feel like I want to read the medicine also. Usually I don't read both of them, but it feels like it's all... So this could be for somebody who's needing the medicine. Life is offering you a second chance. Take it, since this chance may not come your way again for a while. Mother Earth is calling you into her womb and inviting you to incubate as long as needed for a spiritual rebirth. Gift yourself time to be with your darkness, your fears, your pain, and your seeds of beautiful potential, until you come out on the other side, free, wise, and full of creativity. Whew, I'm so glad I read both of those. So there's a lot of talk always about the fight and the work. And I'm here for it. I'm there for it. You will find a long list of Instagram handles in my description of social justice voices and organizations who we need to be supporting. because they're doing the work. They need to be heard. But I'm here to remind you that we have to rest within, in between the work. We have to recharge the batteries. We have to go into the darkness sometimes so that we can integrate what we've learned and re-emerge even better to elevate ourselves internally so that we can elevate the work. It all affects each other. You cannot have light without dark. And so we need, I want to remind you as always that it starts with you. You have to take care of yourself first, and it ripples out from there. That if you are coming from a place of scarcity or exhaustion or burnout, you are not contributing or helping in the best way that you can. Okay? So it's important to make sure that you are okay, and then you can go do the work, and then you can rejoin the fight. Okay? It's what is that old adage? Even if you're, surrendering, you live to fight another day. Okay. That is all for now, I hope. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. I'm here for you. Please let me know if you need anything. I'm always available for one-on-one sessions. All the links are below. And I will see you very soon. Okay? Take care of yourself. Bye.